Hey YouTube, Puff and Snuff here. Ian checking in as always from beautiful Northeast Ohio, and I am here with an impromptu midweek Snuff review. Had no plans on doing a review today, but a few days ago got an order in, and it was one of those orders where 90% or so of what I purchased were old favorites, larger quantities of Snuffs I know I like and I want to have around, doing my best to hedge against what's going on with the EU regulations. But as always, you throw in one or two things that you haven't tried before, just for fun. And then without fail, like a kid on Christmas morning, when the package arrives, what's the first thing you do? You tear into the stuff you haven't had before just to give it a shot. So today we are talking about, and you won't be able to see this, Bernard's Winterpris, which is a Schmalzler. Um, Interesting little note here on the Winterpris. According to the Mr. Snuff website, and according to my order form, I ordered Weihnachtpris, which is Christmas pinch, as opposed to winter pinch. Went back to their website. They do not have Winterpris listed. They only have the Weihnachtpris. Go to some of the German language snuff e-tailers. They do not have the Weihnachtpris. They only have the Winterpris. The descriptions of the product are virtually identical. So my guess is this is the same product under a different name. I don't know why. My guess would be that even though Germany, I don't think, is on the hook to comply to the EU regulations for a few more months, perhaps by labeling it winter instead of Christmas, they're getting ahead of the whole can't have, underage child friendly names and things like that. But either way, I suspect we're talking about both Weihnachtpris and Winterpris. So that said, let's get on with the snuff. The as with pretty much all the Bernard Schmalzlers, it comes in the plastic tap box, which for Sam Gawith snuffs is horrible because the tobacco dries out, loses a lot of its aroma, um, and it generally detracts from the snuff. These, however, are so moist from the Schmalzler going on in there that it doesn't really have too much of a negative effect. And in fact, being able to tap it right onto the boxcar is helpful as opposed to going in for a pinch, because this can be it's very moist, it's oily, it can be, trying to pinch it can be a messy affair. Um, the problem with any tap box is it's hard to get a good idea of what's inside from the tin aroma, because you have such a small exposure here. But from what you can get, it's pretty much cinnamon, cherry, and a little bit of vanilla, kind of in that order. The first thing you smell is a relatively strong cinnamon, um, and then a nice cherry, but not a cough syrupy kind of cherry, and then just kind of a vanilla undertone. But mostly what you smell is plastic. So I've been warming this up, and that is a huge bump. Warming this up on the boxcar. Again, the lighting is poor, but it is a typical Bernard Schmalzler grind. So it is relatively coarse, very moist, nice, thick, fluffy, clumpy snuff. The color is fairly red, or at least a very reddish brown, not your typical dark brown or near black or blonde. It's quite red. I don't know that I personally have taken a snuff quite so red, but it certainly looks appealing. Uh, so let's get it up in the old nose, and this is going to be messy. Oh yeah. Oh, it is so good. I'm doing this review because it was so good. Um, First things first, super easy to take. Again, pretty typical of a Schmaltzler. It's oily, It's moist, it's fluffy, and it's heavy. So it doesn't really have the tendency to fly back on you. It sits right where it should. Super easy to lift and stick. Oh. The first thing you get is a wonderful, wonderful cinnamon. It is not a super, super hot cinnamon like those hard cinnamon candies that I'm sure your grandma has in a glass dish on the side table that no one but your one crazy uncle ever takes. But it's also not a super sweet cinnamon roll, cinnamon sugary kind of cinnamon. It's kind of right in the middle. There is some heat from the cinnamon, but it's not overbearing. There is a little bit of burn, which I'm more inclined to think is from the cinnamon than from a high level of nicotine. Although the nicotine is in there, this isn't a weak nicotine snuff. I don't think that's what the burn is from. I think the burn is from the essential cinnamon oil or whatever gives it the aroma. Once that first kind of cinnamon blast starts to fade, you get the cherry and you get the vanilla. And again, it is a candied cherry, but it's not, there's no menthol in this. So it's not like a Vicks cherry or a cough drop medicated cherry. It's a sweet candied cherry. It's a little bit of vanilla. Something, something generically nutty. I don't know that it's actually, I don't know if there's actually a nut scent or a nut oil in here, but something about the tobacco or the way the other aromas play together leaves kind of a nutty undertone in there. And they all just kind of, they come and go. It's a lot, in a way, this reminds me a lot of a complex artisan snuff. The way there are many, many levels to this, and they keep poking their heads up and down and up. Um, One other thing that I get from this, and I'll confess to have looked at a few other reviews on this, um, I didn't see anyone else mention anise or licorice. And I get just a faint little bit of that back in there. Um, Kind of hangs out underneath the cinnamon. And when you get the cherry or the vanilla or the nut or some like a kind of a clovey nutmeggy thing coming out, you don't get any anise. But when the cinnamon stands out, as it fades, it feels like there's a little licorice anise going on in the back end of that, and it's really, really neat, and it's really, really well done. The drip, as is always the case with these Bernard Schmalzlers, is substantial. Most of it wants to go back, but plenty of it wants to come forward as well. So you will need to have um, something to wipe your nose with and to blow your nose with, because this wants to run on you. The back drip is super pleasant. Um, it's cinnamony, it's vanilla-y. Really, really, really nice stuff. Very non-clogging. I've been using this quite a bit since I opened it, and no clogging at all to speak of, either from excess product in the nose or from any sort of sinus reaction, at least me personally. So I don't have a bad thing to say about this. It is obviously a seasonal snuff. Um, in the Christmas season, this is a 10 out of 10. I probably wouldn't even look at using this once you get too far past the holidays, or certainly once you get into the warmer weather. It'd be probably a little cloying, a little overbearing, and a little too much. But when you name something Christmas pinch or winter pinch, it's very clear that you're going for a seasonal snuff. So it does exactly what it wants to do. 10 out of 10 for me. I don't think I can talk about a winter holiday seasonal snuff without also mentioning, about a year ago, I did a video review on Toke's Christmas Pudding, which at the time I said was a great Christmas snuff, and it is. And still don't have a bad thing to say about that. It is still very much in my Christmas rotation. But it's very interesting if you have the chance to try that and to try this, to do a little compare and contrast, because they both pull off that winter, holiday, seasonal kind of snuff, but they do it in two totally different ways. The Tote Christmas Pudding is more of that, you're outside and it's cold, but everything feels kind of crisp and clean and fresh. And then you go inside and you smell the Christmas potpourri, right? And it's that clovey, all-spicy, dark fruit, dried fruit, orange peel, um, fruity, spicy, light Christmas time aroma. This goes the other direction. This is the you're inside and it's warm and you're watching it cold outside and someone's baking something in the kitchen and it's that warm cinnamon, vanilla, cherry baked dessert kind of Christmas theme. Um, Both very successful in two totally different ways. For me, without a doubt, both have a permanent place in my holiday season, usually from late November through very early January rotation. So, um, once again, that is Bernard's Winterpris, possibly Weihnachtpris. Who knows? Excellent snuff, but have a hanky for sure. Guys, that is all for me. Until next time, take it easy.